welcome to Anna with Plants. My name is Anastasia. Thank you for joining me for another video. Today it's going to be an old-fashioned plant tour. This is going to be part one of my plant room. I just decided to make this room a lot more organized, a lot more bright, just for the benefit of my plants, but then also for my personal sanity too. So now that I'm done blabbering on, let's just jump into it, shall we? Okay, I'm gonna skip my Hoya board and my small seedlings, and I think I'm just gonna go straight into this Hoya shelf over here. This is my Hoya Sunrise. I got it as a very small cutting, beautifully sun-stressed, has not bloomed for me unfortunately, and also battled some mealybugs as well. So yeah, she's quite a fast grower in my opinion. So this is my Hoya Burtonier AF. Has some really nice sun stressing, and I just noticed it grew its first peduncle right here. Not ready to bloom yet, but on its way. Very pretty. As seen in my plant goals of 2024, this is my Hoya Lacunosa Royal Flush. Looking quite the same as it did in that video. Also nicely sun-stressed. One of the last sun-stressed Hoyas is going to be my Hoya Helwigiana. This one you don't hear a lot about, but look at that sun-stressing. It is so beautiful when it sun-stresses. The regular green leaves are nice, but this plant is really nice when it starts to sun-stress. This is a cutting that came with a very large peduncle, which has not bloomed, and then I unfortunately decapitated it this morning. Veiny Hoya number 1. This is the Hoya AH040 with an incredibly long tendril growing kind of wild here. I love the veination on this one, and it has a really nice texture around the edges of the leaves. It came to me as a 2-leaf cutting, and then all of this has grown in my care since, and then this is the newest leaf. Super pretty. Hoya SP Sabah. This I got from Unsolicited Plant Talks. Such a stunning Hoya. The veination, it has some sun stressing, fast grower, highly recommend. This is a Hoya I received in a surprise Hoya cutting box. It is a Hoya CV Marvel, and one of the things I love about it is obviously it's beautiful, but the veination, you can actually feel it's textured, which is very different from a lot of like the flatter veination. So pretty. Another veiny Hoya is called the Hoya CV Ann. This one is a little bit different because the veination is not as contrasted and not as dramatic, I want to say, and the feel of the leaves is much more flat and smooth. Still a very stunning Hoya, and it grows very compactly, which is nice. Plant purchase from Gardino Nursery. This is a Hoya Irina. This is one of its newest leaves. Look at her. Is she not beautiful? I wouldn't say it's really like a great Hoya to sun-stress, but I love how the veination is also intermingled with some splashing. There you go. You can see that a little bit better now. Also quite a steady grower. Last Hoya on that shelf is another Unsolicited Plant Talks Hoya. This is Hoya AH049. Look at her. Very smooth and shiny. Funky snap. Very smooth and shiny, and a little bit of splashing. It's also a very good grower as well, and I recently just transferred it into pond, and it's doing fantastically well. I did the lazy method where I don't clean off the previous substrate when I transfer it to semi-hydro, and I found some promising results here. This just goes to show you don't have to completely strip the roots of the previous substrate when you're transferring to semi-hydro. Because look at those roots. Doing okay. This is the NSC Tropicals Silver Crystallinum. This is its newest leaf right here. Very interesting one. It does have some interesting veination with the silver, but the texture is where it's at. It's very pebbly, which isn't always typical for a crystallinum, and the edges are also a little bit wavy. It's a very unique texture, and it is working on a new leaf here as well. And then these are just some of the older leaves. And this is crazy because I also just repotted this, I want to say a couple weeks ago, and the roots are wild. This is a hybrid that I got off of Etsy. I'll go ahead and pop up what the two parent plants are. I believe one of them is a no ID. They looked very, very cool. Unfortunately, this leaf is quite damaged, but no worry because it is working on another leaf. This is a queen anthurium import. It also finally pushed out its new leaf and it is damaged, but this is pretty typical of new import leaves. Otherwise, it rooted pretty well in the substrate and can't wait to see what it does when it matures. This I showed in my January new leaves. This is a anthurium pap Scott Cohen crossed with a luxurians. This is the new leaf it's working on. Very pretty and red. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. And then these are its older leaves here. My anthurium pink princess marbled, pushing out a new leaf, and looks like it's gonna have a nice chunk of pink on it. Nicely rooted on the pole. This beauty finally hardened off. This is the anthurium silver blush crossed with Michelle, and look at her, so pretty. Look at that pink sinus. The veination is a mint color, and already working on another leaf. Another plant in my NSC Tropicals order, this is the FTG, I believe it's called. It's a Fairchild crystallinum, and it is a very unique one. Look at the new leaf here. Look at how ruffled the edges are on the new leaf. Very unique plant. I hope you can't see all the fungus gnats that are flying around, but this is just real life when it comes to owning plants. Original pink princess, new leaf had a nice chunk of pink variegation. Not much to say about this one. Hybrid, I believe one of the parents is an AOS crossed with Mag Verde. I'll go ahead and pop up the exact hybrid. This one didn't do anything for a while because I potted it into like quite a big pot from what it came in, and it finally started to root and fill out the pot here, and it finally also pushed its first leaf. This beautiful plant is a Hoya lacunosa mint coin. Of all of the silver Hoya, this should be the top of your list because it is a beauty. Battery already died. Love to see it. Okay, moving on. This is a Hoya caudata Sumatra. These leaves first grew in my care. Oh my god, look at how stunning and like splashy they are. And I put her on a nice circle trellis that she will hopefully fill out one day. Philodendron Florida Beauty, working on a new leaf here. This was the original propagation leaf. This leaf grew in my care, and then this all variegated leaf grew in my care. The Philodendron El Choco from my January leaves, working on a new leaf here, and very exciting. The smaller plant is also pushing a new leaf as well. So hopefully we'll get some nice undamaged leaves on her finally. This is a Hoya Silver Dollar. This leaf kind of got a little bit sun-stressed. Its sun-stress is purple, which is quite nice. Right here, you can see some of that sun stress, and then this is like a new vine that's growing on it. This, I believe I purchased on Etsy. This is a Hoya CV Ricardo. These leaves down here were the original leaves I got. First leaf. The second leaf was absolutely massive. Look at that. Super shiny, a little bit splashy, and some veins. I think you know my type in Hoyas now. These two were my original Cartel Dawn plants that I imported in November. So this is a Pap X crossed with a Queen Crystal. And this is the first leaf that's grown in my care. It's still hardening off. And this is a no ID. This one, I had seen better days. This one I had to cut off because it was doing something really weird. Largest leaf actually weirdly melted. I can't really explain what happened to it, but it was very strange. And this new leaf is grown in my care. It kind of looks like a little bit of a Carla, like there's some Carla in it. Not sure. nevertheless, excited to see these grow. What also is on that shelf is all of the most recent Cartel Dawn imports. There's quite a bit of plants I got there, and just for the sake of not having this video be a million years long, I'm just gonna continue on with the plant tour. Why are there so many sirens today? This right here is one of my favorite Hoyas, and I don't even know if the camera is going to do it justice, but this is a Hoya, I believe it's a globulosa type, but it's called cowdong, something like that. I'll go ahead and pop in the name, but oh my god, these leaves are just so insane. Do you see how textured and shiny and veiny they are? They're just very gorgeous leaves. Philodendron gloriosum coming at you with a new leaf on the way as well. This is the biggest leaf in my care. This is a head comparison for you. Not quite as big as my head, but I do have quite a large head, so I think this leaf will be even bigger. A very underrated anthurium in my opinion. This is the Queen of Hearts, and she is most definitely the queen. Look at how dark the leaves are. It's got 2 inflows, and this is its newest leaf right here, still not hardened off yet. You can kind of see it's a bit floppy, but oh my god, do you see the V-shaped sinus? It's actually quite wide, and the other leaf didn't really have that same shape, so it looks very cool. Such an underrated anthurium. This anthurium regale was an import I did last year from Tropicals. This is, I believe, its newest leaf, and then this is the older leaf. And as you can see, the older leaf is starting to go. It has not grown any leaves in my care, unfortunately. So maybe this is a sign that it's getting ready to finally do something, because it has not pushed out anything for me yet, but it is finally growing some new healthy roots. The Philodendron Splendid I showed in my this was the plant goals video, pushing out a new leaf here. NSC Tropicals Anthurium Windley, very cute and small. New leaf coming out. I won't spend too much time on this guy, you've seen it a lot. This is my Philodendron Florida Ghost. This is its new leaf. Very minty and beautiful. This guy was on my Anthurium repot. This is the Anthurium Silver Blush crossed with a red crystal, and didn't skip a beat after the repot. Here's its new leaf coming out. This is a very exciting one for me. This is my sun-stressed Hoya Ganun Gadin. I think that's how you say it. The original 2 propagation leaves, and then all the other leaves grown in my care. Some of them came out wonky, but look at this perfect leaf, and look at that sun stress. Beautiful. This cutie pie is my Anthurium clarinervium. I purchased it as a seedling, and it came as a pretty established plant already. This was some of the original leaves, and this is the first leaf that grew in my care. It has a lot of veination, and it always wants to flower regardless of what I do, so I might cut that one off. I don't know, but yeah, Anthurium clary. Philodendron White Wizard. I'm actually quite impressed as how I was able to get him to size up, because these leaves were kind of his original size. And then these leaves down here, he's been sizing up quite nicely, and he's growing out of the cataphyll now. He's rooted pretty well in the pole. I think it'll be time to extend him soon. Not the best variegation. That's okay. Oh, moving on to my monsteras. I should have filmed this video before I watered them, because they're actually quite heavy now. This is my Monstera aurea. Look at her new leaf. I love it when they come in. It's all green on green, and then it'll eventually fade into this color, and then eventually go to this color with the yellow in it. Very pretty plant, grows more slowly than an albo, and the one major drawback is it melts. The yellow variegation melts very easily. In my experience, this is due to when the plant dries out too much, the yellow variegation is the first to go. Prime example is right here. This leaf was all yellow, and it was doing fine for a while, and then I let her get too dry, and now it's totally starting to melt. So definite pros and cons. Nevertheless, she is a beast. So this guy is the first Monstera albo I purchased. I purchased her off of Etsy. It came with these 3 original bottom leaves right here. This leaf was the first one I grew, and then all the other leaves have since grown in my care. Finally, we're getting some nice fenestrations on the oldest leaf here, and there's a new leaf unfurling right here. Not the best variegation, which is why I got the next albo that I'm going to show you. Oh, also, hilariously, look at this giant aerial root. Like, what are you doing? Oh, another big boy. You'll have seen this magnificent creature in my September favorites video. She is one of my favorite plants, and I am so glad that I got her. This is the Monstera albo that I got off of Etsy from Optiflora on auction. I grew maybe 5 or 6 leaves now in my care. This leaf, it just unfurled, and I finally have fenestrations. There's quite a bit right there. The oldest leaf didn't have any, so I'm glad to have it mature up. The only thing is, look at how white it is. Not loving that, but the marbling is very nice, so I think it'll be fine. Oh my god. Ooh, now this is definitely the heaviest plant. This is a Monstera Thai constellation. I wish I could take credit for how majestic she is, but I cannot. I purchased this Thai constellation pretty much the size as is. This leaf did unfurl in my care, but I haven't had a new leaf push quite yet. It is very nicely variegated. Pretty like mid to high variegation, very pretty. Some of the oldest leaves do have some browning on them, which is to be expected. She is a beast. This is an anthurium hybrid from Equigenera. It's called a crystal sky, but I'll pop up what the actual parents are. I got it because of how dark, and it's a crystallinum, I'm sure is one of the parents, but I love how dark it is, and I love how the veination isn't super apparent. Also giving me a new leaf here. And look at how well rooted this plant is. I just repotted the plant maybe like 3 weeks ago, and it's already coming out the bottom. Insane. This is my anthurium pallidiflorum. This is her newest leaf, definitely going to be her longest. Very pretty. These are all the other leaves. Can't wait for her to get massive. That would be amazing. Very skinny too. Anthurium vitarifolium. Really easy anthurium. If you're looking to get into pendant anthuriums, look no further. Super low maintenance. This is the latest hardened off leaf. She decided to be quite skinny when these leaves are a little bit wider. And then the new leaf here has a little inflow. And I put like a makeshift collar on her since the roots were going kind of insane. This is my NSC red crystallinum. The newest leaf is so dark. Just look at how dark it is. It's excitingly giving me its first inflow. I won't pollinate or anything like that. I'll wait for the second one maybe. These are the 2 older leaves. This leaf will also unfortunately be damaged due to spider mites and probably some trouble unfolding on this side. Nevertheless, very pretty. Very, very pretty anthurium. This guy is my cute dark forgetii. It has not grown any new leaves for me in my care. This is the newest one. A little bit damaged, but that's okay. It's already trying to flower for me and simultaneously push a new leaf, doing the most. This one is a little bit of a sad story. This is a gloriosum import from Tropicals. I believe they called it a silver gloriosum. It could also be a dark gloriosum too. I'm not entirely sure. It's been taking quite a while to be happy in my conditions. It has pushed a new leaf, but it didn't unfurl for a while and now it got kind of stuck. I don't know if it's gonna be okay or if it'll be damaged. I'm not entirely sure. But one good thing is it has started rooting in this pole. Yeah, I don't know. This monstera right here was in my 2024 plant goals, and it is beginning to unfurl a new leaf. And it's also quite funny because the root situation is like, thank you for the pot, but I think we're just going to do our own thing because look at all just the roots growing out of it. It's quite funny. A mint monstera. This is the saddest one. Remember this guy from my anthurium repot? This is like the forgetti-eye hybrid. Yeah, it looks even worse than it did during the repot. I don't know if it's gonna make it. Some of the leaves have started to yellow and it looks so sad. I don't know if it's gonna make it. I'm gonna put you back. This guy is an import I did last year. I got it as an anthurium dressleri. It kind of looks like an Eastern dressleri to me, but again, it's not fully mature or anything. Maybe we can just call it a dressleri AF at this point. But yeah, newest leaf has a bit of damage from the import. This sad looking dude is an anthurium from Equigenera. It's a Magnificum silver. All of the leaves have some kind of yellowing, have some kind of damage. That's why this new leaf here, which is expanding every hour, it seems like it's getting bigger. This is its newest leaf and it is looking undamaged at this point. So I have high hopes that this leaf will make this plant look a little better. This last one on the shelf over here is this I like to call the bane of my existence. This is the reason why I will always pick Monstera albo over Thai Constellation, because this Thai Constellation has been nothing but a pain in my ass. It has rotted on me. I think this is probably the 7th time. At this point, I'm just over it and I keep it in a container of water because I know it's going to rot eventually, so why even pot it up in anything else? It seems to be doing okay. It'll grow new roots and then you look at it wrong or you don't water it correctly and it just rots. So I'm quite frankly done with this plant, but I don't want to throw it away. And that is why I got that big monstera, because this one misbehaved so much. Now we're gonna move over to the half shelf and the Hoya board next to me. Okay, so this is my Hoya board. I have 2 Sansi grow lights and an IKEA pegboard right there. Let's just go in and talk about each plant individually. This is a Hoya Croniana Super Silver. Kind of not doing the best. It stopped growing after I repotted it to put onto the board, so I'm just kind of waiting it out at this point. Next one is a Hoya Pandorata Vietnam, and this plant I didn't really think of too much when I got it in a surprise cutting box, but look at these new leaves it gave me. Is that not just so pretty with like the silver on it? And it grows very, very quickly as well. This is a pretty popular Hoya. It's called a Hoya houseplant variegated, or the inner variegated houseplant. All of the growth comes in a really pretty pink. Very fast grower as well. This one is a very fun one. This is a Hoya and Glariana. Look at all the new growth that's just popping off right there. Right here, if you can see it right here. I have a peduncle on it, very exciting. This is the Hoya Polynera Broguette, the silver splashed Hoya. Very large and bushy. Going down to the bottom row, this is a inner variegated Bertonier. The new growth comes in this pretty pinky yellowy color. This is a Hoya Sagittalis Borneo, I believe, which is the super silver one. Next one is one of the many Mathilde splashes I have. This one has like a moderate, I'd say, amount of splash, but I wouldn't really call it super splash. And this last one on the pegboard is a Hoya houseplant outer variegated. It is also about to bloom, so if these blooms don't blast, Really hope these blooms don't blast here. So these are my anthurium small seedlings over here. I'm just gonna go through them real quick. This is an anthurium bvep crossed with a luxurians, and look at how dark that is. Lovely. Back here is my soderoy that I showed in my 2024 plant goals. This tragedy is the beheaded Regardens Ace of Spades. I accidentally snapped the top off of it, so now it's just a butt cut. However, as you can see, there is a shoot growing, so that's some hope. This is a hybrid that I got from Creaky Shed. I'll pop up what it is here. Look at how red it is. Super, super duper pretty. This is a King Clarinervium seedling. This is also a very sad beheaded anthurium crystal mag crossed with a red crystal. It unfortunately got beheaded by the grow light when it fell. Over here is my silver blush anthurium with a new leaf on the way. This one also had some rot problems, so I'm glad it's finally coming back. So you probably saw this guy in my anthurium repot. This is the anthurium Michelle I got, and this is its newest leaf. The last leaf is still so dark. Another sad one is my Carla 4x1. The new leaf completely melted off, and now it is just a stump over here with one leaf hanging on. Love to see it. Small baby from Hoya Hole. This is a Carla crossed with a Dressleri. I don't know if you can see how dark that one is, but very, very pretty. Random anthurium I got on Etsy called a Dock Block hybrid, so I'm not really sure what it is, but it looks to me like it's a little variegated, the newest leaf there, which is interesting. My bvep or my Antilocii, I got it as a one leaf seedling, and now it has a second leaf, and I believe it's working on a third. Dark Phoenix Port seedling. This is my first leaf that grew in my care, and then this is the second one still expanding. Nice flat sinus so far. This is a hybrid I got from Tan Asian with Plants. It is an anthurium Black Widow Michelle crossed with a Zara, and I got two. This is a Carla crossed with a Dark Phoenix from Hoya Hole as well. Working on a new leaf here. Very pretty. Thank you so much for watching my plant tour in my plant room. Please tune in for part 2, which is going to be a plant tour for the rest of my house. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.